I'm playing the rest of Arch Manning's college career, but the twist is he has to transfer after one season to a new school. He could win the Heisman, take home a natty, break every record known to man, a lot of those which are challenges in this video, but even if he does that, schools like Alabama, Ohio State, Tennessee, Oregon will all have a chance to recruit Arch Manning at the end of his sophomore year. I'll be playing with him on the hardest difficulty, trying to complete all 6 of these challenges before he declares for the NFL draft. And I have this set up to just pick up where Texas has left off in real life, sitting at 3-1. If you look at the rest of our schedule this season, basically everybody on it besides Florida has had a very good year. So I'm not feeling very good as we start SEC play going to the Swamp. They even got the light show going. It is going to turn into a night game. And we'll see what we can do with Arch Manning on this first play as we take a sack. I don't think he understood the play call that was out there. 3rd and 10. We can go to a drag route, but we're going to have to punt it back to the Gators. That puts us down 7-0 to start this game. On our next drive, we're going to take the same read. And I gotta say, I don't think I'm a very big fan of the passing plays I'm getting out of this Texas playbook so far. What I want to do with Arch is just air this football out. We're going to go for some big plays down the field. If we can hit this deep post with him, that's going to tie things back up at 7. And it's not often I make a good read and throw like that. Our next drive is starting all the way down on the 9-yard line. I saw some press coverage over on the left side of the field, but it looks like we did not beat them deep. Arch just has a lot of blind faith in some of these receivers. We're going to get this ball out quick, and the turn up field makes it a 3rd and 2. We were looking at Khalil Lockett there, a true freshman receiver. Our tight end on the zig is going to hang on to the football. That's a big play. And I am sure Jack Endries is going to make a load of those this season. If they run man-to-man coverage, we can get the angle route. You know, there's been a lot of talk about Arch Manning so far this season, if he's overrated, all because of the 7-point game against Ohio State. He hasn't played the best against some other schools either. Bengal himself texted me saying he sucked. He was struggling one week, I'm pretty sure against UTEP, and that team playing them, if he's having issues, that tells you everything you need to know. But I'm looking to change things with Arch. We got a 2nd and 4. With man-to-man coverage out there, we got hit. And I also want to discuss all the people all worked up that he was flexing on Sam Houston, who they ended up annihilating. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I want my quarterback to be acting like that. Football's a competitive sport. I don't care if the other team is in a smaller conference, if they're a smaller program. They don't want to be looked at like they're a Make-A-Wish team. You want to treat them the same way that you'd treat anyone else. Therefore, I am all for the flexing, and we're going to be able to do that after passing for a touchdown against a real team, Florida. Now, with the way the Gators season has started, you could argue that me saying real team is just being very generous. But even if the Gators are not performing that well in real life, they're currently giving us a pretty competitive game, though I think we're about to get 21 points. That was a fight into the end zone that you need to see out of your running back, especially if we are not handing it off to him ever. Quintraven Wisner is literally just being used as a distraction out on the field. Every so often, though, we dump it off to him. As we approach the end of this 3rd quarter, we could have a huge play, or the defensive back could get back to it and intercept the ball. We got very lucky he didn't catch that. I think Ryan Wingo is going to be open underneath, and if he's not open, then we're going to have to make a play on the ground, or we could throw it to him, but he ran backwards towards us. That put Florida in a position where they could have easily tied this game up, but our defense forced a pick. That's right, DJ Lagway threw an interception, so now we're trying to run out the clock. It's been a really quick second half. I'm starting to wonder if on 5-minute quarters, if I'm even going to be able to achieve everything I want to with Arch in this video. He's escaping around in the pocket. I might have gotten a little bit too confident putting us out of field goal range there. I was just trying to go for the big play. And so we just have to watch from the sideline as the 55-yarder goes up. This would give us a 2-possession lead over the Gators, and we'll see what the refs signal. It's in. DJ Lagway led the Gators down the field, though, which means this game's not over. And since our running backs have absolutely no vision out there, we're going to throw the ball where we're able to hook up with the receiver and end this game. I think this was a great start to me taking over Arch Manning's career. He had about 250 passing yards, 3 touchdowns through the air. We only scored 24 points, but he had no interceptions. And the next week is when things get real serious because we're about to play the Sooners in the Red River rivalry. John Mateer will not be injured for this game since it's a video game, and he has not been injured in this dynasty file, which means it's going to be important we have a big offensive game. First play of the day for Arch Manning. It's just going to be a quick throw out to our tight end as he is getting nailed on the ground. It does not matter. That is a 34-yard gain, and we're going for a big play here. We have a playmaker out there. The linebacker, of course, turned around and tried to make a play on the ball. I thought we'd get away with that, and we didn't as we wasted a down. Either we're hitting this corner route or we're hitting the slant. It looked like it was going to be man-to-man coverage. We have somehow been able to find DeAndre Moore Jr. I can't believe the Sooners didn't play that ball there. If we're patient, Arch Manning could just step up into a sack. His potential Heisman campaign this season isn't looking as great as I'd like it to be. but maybe we get a big play on the ground here, which we do. You all know what my play style is. It is throw a lot of picks, it's run the ball. And don't get me wrong, Arch Manning does have some wheels on him, but he's not as fast as I'd like. You could say 87 speed's pretty good. I like my quarterbacks to have 90. We hit our slant. DeAndre Moore Jr. is going to be our main read, I think, through most of this season if he keeps getting open like that. And I've kind of been ignoring Ryan Wingo so far. On this next drive, we're going to start it off getting to midfield. It's looking good in the Red River rivalry, though I just threw it straight at him. I thought he was going to stay bit down. I thought we could fit it in the seam. We did. I just wish Arch Manning wasn't so blind sometimes. I mean, he's the one that threw the ball, not me. At least I have good news. Our defense was able to end the first quarter with a stop, but it's looking like we're about to just give it right back to them. Unless Arch Manning is able to find DeAndre Moore Jr. deep, which he couldn't. That's one thing that if we're going to get really good stats, we're going to have to work on. Big plays like this one right here, tight end, up the seam. It's not a pick this time. And the Sooners are playing like John Mateer's injured because they have just gotten no points so far. We're going to be in the end zone. Jordan Washington brought that one in. Arch Manning just loves a good tight end that he can keep pounding. We're going to give him 2 tight end sets over and over, and he can continue to feed them the ball. Though if no one's there, this is where we get to test his speed, and it didn't go well. It's okay, though. You know what his read's going to be. Just a quick slant to a tight end. And I am watching that comeback route over on the left side of the field, but once they're in zone, I knew we weren't hitting it. Even if this drive stalls out, though, and we only get a field goal out of it, we'll have a 3-possession lead on the Sooners. That is plenty for the first half. I don't think we can escape, but who cares? Oklahoma has legitimately not been able to score, and we had to hand it off when we got it back on the 3. I do really want to take some deep shots. I think our whole blocking was just falling apart there, but that play still worked out. Now we're looking for a deep post as we take the sack. I'm starting to get greedy. I'm starting to want some bigger gains out of Arch Manning. We'll try and beat their cover 2 here, which we do. DeAndre Moore Jr. is out of there, but we aren't in the end zone yet. We're waiting for a post that we can just throw bullet pass to. Ultimately, as we enter the 4th quarter, this game's over. It really doesn't matter what we do. So as long as they don't drop one of those safeties back there to help, I am going to give Ryan Wingo his shot at a deep play. It looks like he is the size mismatch here, and he catches it, then drops it. He had his opportunity, and he didn't do much with it, but it's okay. We'll be able to find him on the next play. That's another drop. By the time we do get the ball back, Oklahoma was able to score, but this RPO is just going to end the game. And we actually ended it with Wisner rushing for another touchdown. We get to take home the Red River rivalry. Oklahoma is just not a better team. But for Arch Manning specifically, his performance in this game versus the last was worse. Now, if you look at his midseason stats, you'd say he's doing really well, which he is, but he started this whole video with 14 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, just off of the forced results I had to give Texas. So compared to what he's done in real life so far, this might actually give us a better chance at knocking off the Heisman Trophy challenge this season. At least that's what I thought. Then I checked out the Heisman Trophy watch, and he's not even up there. There's still a ton of time left in this season, though. We're about to play Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt. So typically that slate in the SEC would just feel like a cakewalk. But who knows? As I'm filming this, Mississippi State is still undefeated. Vanderbilt's also been having a really good year. That might all change by the time you all are seeing this. And realistically, I hate to say this about my favorite team, but this is our easiest matchup that's left on the schedule. I think I'm going to get to go to this game this year, so I'm super stoked for that. It's actually been a couple of years since I've been out to Kroger Field. Since I dropped out and moved to Tampa, I haven't been back to a game. I went back up for a basketball one. But now that I'm back in Louisville, I can go to Kentucky games whenever I want. It seems like we're just going to take a hit here. I thought we were about to have a big play. It is 3rd and 5. I have to beat the Wildcats. This is where I'm just going to have to root against my favorite team. We are at midfield. And I can pretty obviously tell that they're going to be giving us a cover 3 look here. But the last time I tried to force it against cover 3, it didn't go so well, which is why we were a little bit more patient. Arch Manning's trying to put on a clinic, and he started off strong. But was Ryan Wingo in the end zone, or was he short? I think they're going to say that he was down at the 1, which means it's time for an Arch Manning QB sneak. Ideally, I would like to put away this game pretty early on if we can, which is why we're going to have another strong drive. And I'm really just waiting to see some man-to-man coverage here. It looks like we're just going to go for the scramble to pick up 10 yards. Now we're going to look for the tight end over the middle. But if Kentucky's bringing pressure like that, we're not going to be able to get away with it. We have a deep ball. We have a deep ball if Arch Manning can lead him, and he does. And he does. I don't know when teams are going to figure out that leaving him in single high coverage is ever going to be a good idea, because it's not. But look at some of the pressure Kentucky's been bringing in. They're getting pressure again. It is now 3rd and 25 from the 6-yard line, though they might have messed up. We can pick up the first down here. We break the tackle. We got it. Sure enough, it's Ryan Wingo on the end of that. We might just give him his deep ball here. We've already passed for 180 yards in this game, and it's about to be over 230. This just is not a good look for Kentucky. I feel really bad, but we're going to have to keep running up the score if we want to win the Heisman. They could at least make things a little bit harder on us. They adjusted to our play call, which is why there was a zone there. We're going to have to throw to Jordan Washington instead. I really do like that the computer can do that, but we might have him deep. Come on. He's out of bounds. No, they gave him the tutty? I don't know how DeAndre Moore Jr. pulled that one in there. I was hoping he'd just drag his toes, but... oh, he easily got it. I'm really hoping when I'm one of these dudes on the sideline here in real life, I'm not sitting there watching Texas annihilate Kentucky in the first half. For some reason, I just have faith that we're going to give them a good game whenever they come to town. You could say it's delusional. Maybe it is, but I still have to have that faith. What a bad throw. Kentucky finally got on the board, so we're trying to end this first half up 35-3. You can probably tell that I was just processing. That should have been a pick in real time there. We're going to take a sack, too. All of a sudden, it is 28-10, and Kentucky does have a little bit of life. It's going to be third down. The question is, what type of coverage are we going to get, though? And they're going to step up to that. Yeah, that should have been a pick. That should have been a pick. I just can't help myself. I don't know why. I can't help myself at all. We're going to hit the crosser, or we're going to miss. And on another third down, this time, I'm not going to force it. We'll hit our drag. If we pick up the first down, I'll be happy about it. There is still time left in this game for us to get the stats up for Arch Manning at least. And if we can score again, I'll feel pretty secure that we're going to close this one out, as we got a wide open true freshman taking it in. After that, there really wasn't much else to be seen in the fourth quarter. Arch Manning's second half might have ruined his perfect stat line, but he still threw for almost 400 yards, and he had 5 total touchdowns. He had that one on the ground. But nobody seems to care. Byron Brown's up there with just 19 passing touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Same for Eli Holstein. So even though we have more touchdowns with Arch in a harder conference, I guess we got to put up more against Mississippi State. If I'm going to complete challenges in this video, it's really important a lot of them come this season, because I have no idea where Arch Manning is going to transfer. Those cowbells, they're already getting on my nerves, and it has not even been a snap. As badly as I might talk about them, I do really want to see what it's like in person if it's really that bad. I just can't imagine it wouldn't be obnoxious, because it seems obnoxious whenever they're on TV or whenever you're playing this game. So far, the fans don't seem to be too loud, but I'm sure as time goes on, the stadium pulse will get there. And all it really took was just one big play for us. Arch Manning's about to take a sack. If he can escape this somehow and complete a pass out of it, we don't deserve this. We don't deserve this. He's sitting there trash talking to player as the play's going on still. If you looked at the scoreboard, you could barely see it, but I love this energy. He couldn't even see where we ended up finishing. He just trusts tight end Jack Endries that much. He's like, he'll finish off the play well. That was a little bit of a hospital ball. He learned how to throw those from his uncle. I say that as a Colts fan. Can we hit the slant, though? That's what we're trying to force in, and it works. Stadium Pulse is still causing it, so it took us 4 hot route attempts to get Ryan Wingo on a streak here. I'm not sure if he can dust this cornerback or not, but I thought we might as well just send it up and try. I told you, we are looking for those press mismatches. They've brought in some pressure, and he's escaped once again. Tight end is wide open. No one is over there. I'm not sure why they've left him wide open, but he might just be gone. No, he goes down at the 2. Honestly, I think from here, we're just going to go for a couple quarterback sneaks, go for a rushing touchdown with Arch. It's a little far away, but eventually he has to make progress. And now that it's closer, out of hurry-up mode, we're going to fall in. You cannot deny how great of a start he has had in this game. And my goal is for him to finish this one with no turnovers so we can get a real Heisman performance out of him. I'd also like National Player of the Week. I feel like to win that on this game as a quarterback, you've got to have a really, really good day. But we just drop it in the bucket. Man-to-man's not working. The Bulldogs have been playing so bad, it doesn't even feel like I'm on Heisman anymore. I mean, we've done whatever we've wanted versus them. In fact, that playmaker, I was going to throw it for a second, but that was the safer read. We might be getting a little bit too comfortable, though. I'm afraid next week, Vanderbilt's going to give us a really good game. So we just got to stay locked in. Our slant could be there. We're going to have to go underneath and take a timeout. Now, this is a little disrespectful, but we are going for it to end this first half. And they got the sack in time. They did not give Arch a chance to get that ball out. And as the second half's gone on, we just haven't played as well. To start the fourth quarter, at least it wasn't a draw. We still have a few more minutes to get into the end zone, and we're moving. 400 passing yards is coming up shortly. We're going to get into the end zone for 5 passing touchdowns here. Or maybe it's 4. I think we have 1 on the ground, but look at where we've gotten this ball back. We're just going to be patient. We are going to throw the wheel, and it's open. All we needed was time. Quintravion Wisner has made it really easy to just end this game for us. I'm not sure why we're still going for yards once it's already over, but we couldn't get the little bit of extra ones that I wanted, which means I don't know if Arch Manning's going to win Player of the Week or not. He had 431 passing yards, 87 completion percentage, 6 touchdowns. But ultimately, Kentucky receiver Troy Stellato got in the way with 190 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns, winning National and SEC Offensive Player of the Week. That really stinks because if you look at the rest of our schedule, 3 of the 4 teams are ranked. Even Arkansas is going to give us a good game. 2 of those teams are in the top 7. But at least we've been able to bounce back with Texas so far. Oklahoma's number 6 in the country, so that was a good win for the Longhorns. As for our conference standings, we're the only team that is still undefeated in SEC play, but we still haven't completed a single challenge in this video. It seems like if we're going to win Player of the Week, we're going to have to throw for like 7 touchdowns against the Commodores. And after leading his team all the way down the field, Diego Pavia threw an interception, which means we can start off with a big drive here as we're already past the 50. If we get some motions in, maybe we can confuse this Vanderbilt defense as well. It's setting us up to have some big plays. Or not. On 2nd and 10, they're going to get in their pass rush. I would like if Arch could at least get us into field goal range, but we're going to need like a 15-yard completion, and that is not close. Luckily, like a minute or 2 later, we've gotten the football back in the exact same spot that we just ended that last drive on. Now, statistically, we're approaching the end of the first quarter, and this game's not going too well, because to be approaching the end of the first quarter and to have no passing touchdowns yet, we're not on pace for some of the really good stat lines that we've had recently. This is the worst pocket movement of all time. We ran way outside it, but it worked. Arch should be getting screamed at by Sarkisian whenever he does something like that. Look at all the time that we're being gifted, though, from our offensive line. We're just going to scramble. We're going to fight our way in. That reach out for it is all that it took for Arch to get his first touchdown. And if there's one thing I've learned about Heisman races, rushing touchdowns helps out a lot. Of course, if you complete a pass like this and get a touchdown out of it, it helps even more. Ryan Wingo ran under that ball and then turned on the Jets. We might have our deep post here, or we might have an interception. That was risky. As much as I wish you could, you can't always split the safeties. Sometimes the safest move is just the shorter passes. We only have 133 yards in this game at the moment, but DeAndre Moore Jr. was getting pressed, so I thought we're just going to throw this up to him, see what he can do. He didn't really get any separation, but typically he finds a way to come down with those. And on 3rd and 10, the slant's not there. We're going to have to make a play with Arch on the ground using his legs, and he's now done some of his biggest runs in the same game. It'll take a little hit to his wear and tear, but I'm sure his stamina is good enough to where it's not going to matter too much. And let's see, what look is Vanderbilt giving us here? Oh, our slant's wide open. We didn't even need to roll out. We should have hit him in the pocket. Ryan Wingo's actually starting to cook some of these teams. I knew we could get that ball out fast. And this is a direct quarterback snap. If Arch can just hit this hole, he'll be in. You know, I was expecting Vanderbilt to put up a much better fight than this. Our first interception comes on a bad pass, though. We didn't even need to try and score more points to end the half there, but I thought we might as well. And then Arch just sailed a pass that he should have been able to hit. With another year of development, though, I can only imagine how good he's going to be next season. And to end the half, we're in field goal range, so we're able to go up 24-0. A holding penalty has messed up our start to this 3rd quarter, but it seems like we're going to have enough time to just throw something up straight to him. There is no reason the play should have ever looked like that. Like, genuinely, if you sit here and you watch football and you ever see anyone do this as a quarterback, drop back 15 yards, roll out to the sideline, just send up a prayer into triple coverage, you should just stop rooting for that team. It's like anytime we go up by a good amount against somebody, I just get way too overconfident. And those interceptions are 100% going to affect our odds whenever it comes to even entering ourselves into the Heisman race. The rest of the game was just kind of boring. We ended up not having that much success. I really tried to stat pad with Arch Manning, but Vanderbilt was bringing better pressure than I think we have faced all year. There's a reason we fell all the way down to number 4 in the polls. Eventually, someone's going to have a good offensive game versus us. That could happen this week as well. We're about to face Georgia. Still just no mention of Arch Manning's name here. And that really is crazy to me because he's thrown for more touchdowns than every player there, and he also has a better completion percentage than them. The respect is not being shown, but I feel like if he went out and dominated against Georgia, it would be. Now, I'm pretty sure Georgia's won like 33 straight at Sanford Stadium. Odds aren't in our favor, but we were able to stop them on defense, which is exactly what we needed, except we fumbled our second offensive play away. Just like that, Arch Manning's cold. Georgia got their stop, but we've been running a couple deep posts and no one was open. There's not really much Arch can do about that. We can hit our drag and just take the free 10 yards though. What I don't like about the Texas playbook is there are so many plays with play action in here. I am loving how we just turned up field though. Wisner is actually exploding all over them. Like, that's not even a weird saying at this point. He just exploded. We dropped the ball. Get Jack Andrews back out on the field right now. He's not going to drop it. In fact, we're going for the 50-50 one. He almost got it. It is looking like we're about to get held to a field goal, though we have him immediately. He just needs to hang on. You know how crazy it is that he just brought that ball in? He might just be the freest read of all time. That's all we got to do. Put him on a streak, see how they react, and if it's man-to-man coverage, we can hit a halfback angle route. I'm not too upset with the first quarter, even though we gave up a touchdown because of that fumble. That hurt. But we have had more total yards of offense. There are a lot of unique plays in this Texas playbook. I will give it that. I'm not sure how it's going to work, though. We'll just make the easy read for Arch Manning. It's definitely getting us some more unique play calls out there. It's the play action, though, that we can't take off of the play because we're on the road and it's leading to sacks. We had a lot of time to make a read. But Arch panicked. It is 3rd and 27, and the pocket's going to collapse again. You can't fumble it 2 times in this game. At least we got an interception that has really set us up nicely. We're starting this drive on the 9-yard line. And one of these 2 things is going to be open, either more or the RPO. We're throwing the bubble, and that gets us to the 1. It is quarterback sneak time. I don't care how good this defensive line has been. They're not stopping us that short. And after trading some fast touchdowns back and forth, we're still sitting with our lead in this game. But I don't think we're going to get any more points before the half because we're so scared to make reads against the Bulldogs. It really seems like most of our success in this game has either come from our special teams setting us up or our defense getting stops. But Arch Manning quietly has 162 yards through the air for 3 touchdowns, and we're going for number 4, but they're probably going to get over to it and pick it. That was not the best read of all time. I didn't think he was going to drop back to get to that ball. But sure enough, Zion Branch did. And we're going to see if we have any of our streaks on this play. We don't, so we're going to force it and just hope for the best. That's the play style I like to go with. We're going to be able to hit Jack Andrews for a few. But here's where I really think we could confuse this Bulldog defense. I feel like that wheel to Gibson could get wide open, and it is. It's wide open. No one's over there. So we're going to make up for the interception as we get a touchdown on this drive. That play was genuinely so good, to the point where I'm running it on the 3-yard line, and that's not smart. A safety would get Georgia right back into this one. But we have our check down. We're going to let Wisner get us to the 10. And if we just hit Jordan Washington on the slant, then we can move the chains. They let him get wide open there. To end the 3rd quarter, I wanted to go for a big play. I thought we could pull them down with the play action. It didn't go that well. But either way, we got 4 passing touchdowns with Arch Manning, and we're up by 14. Those early fumbles are definitely things that we don't want to repeat in the future. And you need to get the ball out quick there, because we had a holding penalty. We still took a sack. Georgia didn't even need to accept the penalty, putting us on a 3rd and 16. And they're just going to make a break on that ball because we didn't throw it soon enough. I can't be the only one that just gets super mad at myself whenever I make bad reads in this game. I'm surprised we caught that ball. It's like you make enough mistakes and you just want to slam the controller sometimes. Playmaker, you know what? We're going to play it safe. We're going to let Arch use his legs. This is a very winnable game as long as we don't turn it over for another time. 2 picks and a fumble. Could have been 4 turnovers if we didn't recover the other fumble. We got a wide open Jack in the end zone, though. And then guess what? Gunnar Stockton threw an interception, so we got it back, and we're going for another touchdown. Now, the sportsmanship of potentially throwing this one up here, it's not all there, but I saw that we had a chance to just rack up the numbers. And I am almost positive in this final 10 seconds, I'm just going to end up hurting our stat totals. Even though we doubled the score against the Bulldogs, I feel like Arch Manning didn't play that well. I don't care he had 6 touchdowns. We got set up for a lot of them. I just know that if they get their rematch, it's going to be really tough for that same type of result to happen. Arch Manning has set the Texas single-season passing touchdowns record, though. All it took was 35 to do that, though, and I feel like I've been too aggressive in setting a challenge goal of 60 passing touchdowns in a single season. I know Joe Burrow was able to get it done, but I don't think it's going to happen this season for Arch. It might have to come next year wherever he ends up transferring. Those are the last 2 games in our schedule. All we have to do is win one of those, and we will be in the SEC championship, so that's nice. But this isn't a video about having success with Texas. This is a video about Arch Manning and his career. I don't know why I'm expecting his name to be up there after we've thrown 2 interceptions in back-to-back games. And it feels like our last chance this season to win National Offensive Player of the Week is going to have to be against Arkansas. That was my dynasty team for a little bit this year, so I know this roster better than anyone. I can't stress enough how much I enjoy filming those Dynasty series as well, where I don't have to cram it all into just one video. I feel like you get a slower progression, more storylines. But as a creator, I also have to see how videos perform, and unfortunately on YouTube, once you get like 5 episodes into a series, stuff starts to do a lot worse. I also think if I was just doing Dynasty series all the time, that it wouldn't be as special whenever I end up doing those. But there we go. We got a touchdown to start the game against the Razorbacks. It's what I want to see. And I think we can open up this next drive just hitting DeAndre Moore Jr. deep. There's no way that number 2 sticks with him. Well, there is a way. I just thought it wouldn't happen. If we were to run that same play, though, and look elsewhere, there's a lot of other routes that could lead to some really big gains for us. We break the tackle as well. Can't juke him out. Khalil Lockett is truly special. I'd love to hit him on this play if he just comes back to the ball, which he does. And as we start the second quarter, I might even look back in the true freshman's way again. He's on a slant, which means we're going to have him. And I feel like Arkansas is being disrespectful to Ryan Wingo. They decided to press him, and he's going to hang on to the ball with the corner all over him. Did not make a difference. So far, Taylon Green versus our defense has done absolutely nothing. And they're not putting a quarterback spy out there, but they might after this big run from Arch. Comparing this to playing Georgia on the road, this feels like nothing. So that probably has something to do with why we're doing so well. But this is where I typically end up slipping up. We have a comfortable lead. How can we mess this up and throw an interception? Or take a sack and fumble it? We're going to be on like a 3rd and 40. Maybe this was a long-term play, though, for us to just get more passing yards with Arch Manning. That's what it was. It was just a long-term plan for more passing yards out of Arch Manning. Not sure why he's got a star underneath him, because that kid is very far from a superstar. He's not let Ryan Wingo just dust him once, but dust him twice in this game. I am very glad that that did not lead to an interception. And look at Arch going. They didn't put out a spy after the last run. Arkansas is just not learning from this game. This is a pick. It's a pick because I saw it late. He was wide open, and then I got faked into it because the coverage shifted. That turnover just ruined this entire game. I didn't even care how the 4th quarter went, or the 3rd quarter, because we're not going to be able to win Player of the Week with the turnover. I've been trying to go for one more passing touchdown, though. It's dropped in the end zone. And now they're going to bring in a blitz, which means we have another deep post. This time, it's held on to. Ultimately, we still had a really solid day against our rivals. I just hate that we had to throw an interception. And it is going to be the reason we don't win National Offensive Player of the Week. We locked our spot into the SEC Championship, though, and if we can just take down Texas A&M, we're probably locking ourselves into a bye for the playoffs. I thought this game was going to be at Kyle Field, too, so the fact that it's going to be at home makes me feel a lot better. We need to end this season strong before heading into the conference championship. And I know that the Aggies are going to give us a really good game because they're playing for a spot in the playoffs. We stopped them first. Now they have us on a 3rd and 18, where it's looking like we might have taken a safety. We didn't, but the Aggies had such a short field that they ended up scoring pretty easily. And this is just a dumb window to force it into. I refuse to believe that was actually a catch. I refuse to believe that was actually a catch. We're not going to review it. We've only completed passes in this game that just look absolutely nuts so far. They tried to block that one. They didn't get there in time, though. And we got the cut. We got the cut. They still ran the route for us. Eventually, Texas A&M just had to call a timeout. I was willing to stay in hurry-up mode and continue to give it to them until they were able to stop us. I'm trying to run it in. It might be time for Arch to just bust it out on this 3rd down and try to hurdle someone. I don't know why I thought that was going to work. That whole play just looked super wonky. 4th down, we're going to be able to score, thankfully. I was trying to scramble outside the pocket too there, but it was like sucking me into the pocket. It wouldn't let me leave. I don't know why, but it was beneficial. After taking that sack, we're going to need a big play. And he ran that post better than we did. We just handed it back to the Aggies for no reason. So now we're trailing 14-7. And I hate whenever teams bring this double mug look because I know they're probably dropping back into cover 3, but I'm not 100% sure. So I have to prepare for the worst. I'm not sure if we got the look here. Our tight end was so open and I threw it to the wrong guy. But hear me out. I think we can still get this 4th and 1 and keep the drive alive. I can only imagine what it's like to just be sitting there watching me miss read after read. And you think that you'd see it in real time, but you wouldn't either. That's my theory, at least. I don't know. I played against a lot of you all down at Tennessee, and not a single one of you all scored against me. I went 9-0 on drives. I think if you're a big part of the Bordeaux channel, it just comes with being bad at offense. Another sack, though. It's just getting ridiculous out here. I have an idea of what could get us into the end zone, but we have to hold on to the ball, and we do. Khalil Lockett is a special young man. We're going to be able to get a huge gain as well if this is a possession catch. There truly is too many of those plays still being mixed in, but I feel like that's one of the better routes in the game. And the problem with it is I'm really enjoying throwing it more often now, but it typically leads to picks or big games. See, now I'm starting to dice the defense up. You can't sit there and say I'm not reading it well. Our slant just got run for us, though, and Arch gets the throwaway. I can only imagine what a playoff game is going to look like if we don't get some home field advantage. We do need to get past that first round. Best way to do that is a bye. And how are we going to get that bye? By finishing the regular season 11-1. Now, Arch Manning missed a wide open touchdown, but he wanted to get it on the ground. Instead, it's a fumble that they're just going to knee in the end zone. Not exactly the ideal way for that drive to end for us. And Texas A&M has a really good defensive line. They've now gotten 6 sacks in this game. We'll see what we can cook up on 3rd and 9. They don't want to guard us underneath. That's really encouraging to see. Jack Andrews is going to suck the D deep, and then we go short again. Now on this next play, Ryan Wingo is my ideal man to hit, but we're going down. I should have known there was no way I was going to get that pass off in time. We got a wheel route here, and I'm hitting it if I had a second. This actually really stinks. We have to shake out our leg. You got to do that little stretch there. Gets you feeling a little bit looser. And if we hit our slant, we'll be in field goal range, but we got the first down out of it too. That's just the type of receiver that Khalil Lockett is. We got a 50-50 chance here. It's going to be potentially picked. But I wanted that look, so we took it anyway. Come on, don't pick this. Don't pick this. As long as we finish this drive with at least a field goal, things will be fine. That's all I'm hoping for. Though, we're at the marker. We can still finish off with a touchdown. We get out a quick throw. Jack gets in. And Texas A&M responds back with points of their own. So we're going to have to do the same thing. Even though Arch Manning's wear and tear is awful right now, we need another successful drive. Stop holding on to your hit, man. You just toughen up for another 4 minutes. All we need is getting into field goal range. It's all I'm asking for. Oh, we got the deep post, though. No, we don't. No, we don't. We got to throw that harder. It's so nice to have time in the pocket after going most of this game without it. But the issue is then once we get that time in the pocket, I decide that we're going for a big play when we really just need to keep getting these shorter gains. I told you all it's going to take to end this one is a field goal. And I wonder what this motion is going to do for us. I figured it'd get us someone open. No way. He did not catch that. This is how we're going to lose our first game that I've hopped into. The only way we don't is if the computer messes up. They're on a 3rd and 14, 30 seconds left. No timeouts for Texas. They throw it up. We could have picked it. We had our hands on the ball. That was it. Now they're going to settle and hit the kick. This is all because I refused to run the ball as well. All I had to do was just hand it off. But that's not very fun whenever you're controlling a quarterback. The wear and tear has gotten so bad that we have -17 throw power with Arch Manning. But guess what? This game's not over. 12 seconds left. We have to somehow get out of bounds here, and we have to get like 5 yards. So I know who we're going to, but it's not a good throw. Steve Sarkisian's not going to send out the kicker from the 45, which means it all comes down to a Hail Mary. I'm going to give this to our tight end. Everyone got down there. They've had plenty of time to position themselves, but it's dropped. This was a very avoidable loss against Texas A&M. The fact that we dropped it to them just stinks. But here's the thing. It's only going to drop us to number 5 in the polls. We're about to play the Sooners in the SEC Championship. And if we can beat them twice this season, then we're going to get ourselves a first-round bye. We know that no matter what, we're still guaranteed at least one more game after this one. But after that, any game could be Arch Manning's last game once he enters the portal. Did we just watch? What is happening in this intro? Hang on. We watched planes fly over a dome. We got Bevo inside the Boomer Soomer, whatever the heck it is, their little cart thing. I don't know what is going on with this game, but that was weird. I think how you say it is Schooner Schooner. If I don't address that's what that cart was, Oklahoma fans are going to be mad at me. I'd prefer if they were just on my good side still. So we're going to be respectful, even though we're controlling Texas. And watch Arch just go to work against them. Now they're giving us a cover 3 look here. I can just tell. But it was a cover 3 match. So the read I had just wasn't getting open anyway. On a 3rd and 3, they hit us right before I got that pass out. So we're going for it on 4th and 3. We don't want to kick. We do not respect the Sooners. Now I'm going to be looking up the seam on this next play, and it's there. We trust the freshman to hang on. He's been a much better slot receiver than I ever thought he would be. And we're in the end zone. It seems like Oklahoma is not going to be struggling offensively, though, like I was hoping that they would be in this game. This could quite possibly be the worst play of all time. But it could also be one of the best plays we've had all season. In case you're wondering, we did not get a foot in bounds there. We're looking at our zig. Running backs open too, but it's a bad throw. I'm really hoping that everything doesn't just start to fall apart because it seems like things could be that way. And you know what? Maybe Arch Manning really does deserve a new home. Maybe it does get better than Texas. That does not feel like a smart thing to say, but it might be the truth. Hang on. We got him. We got him. No! Ryan Wingo just cost us taking the lead on Oklahoma. They have safety help back the next time I wanted to send it deep. And what an utter collapse this has been from Arch Manning, by the way. I mean, he has just played horribly the last, like, 5 weeks. I missed the games where we were having no turnovers. That made me feel super good because we never were giving it to the other team. Now we've gotten too aggressive, though. There's no checkdowns. It's just forcing it into whatever window we can. Maybe we roll out. Maybe we get a playmaker. And maybe we get a 40-yard gain. But this type of offense is not sustainable against the better teams in this country. It's just not. Though I like how we're in the end zone here. Unfortunately, though, Oklahoma did score a touchdown to end the first half. We got a field goal as a response, which got us within 3. But we are still trailing the Sooners. And we had a wide open read, but I threw it to the guarded guy. I don't even know how he got that open, but I saw it right after he did, and we still catch this one. Good makeup, Ryan Wingo. He's had some questionable drops in this game, but that keeps my faith restored in him. Our wear and tear is again adding up. And do you think we got him deep over there? Do you think I can make this drive easy on myself? I'm not sure I can. We have not been catching these balls often recently, but we did. My only theory is it has to be because Khalil Lockett was on the end of it. Our running back just took a major shot, so we could have the protection to get Jordan Washington in the end zone. And you know what? Maybe we were too hard on myself and Arch Manning, because look at this position we're in. No way. The play action worked wonders. They got fooled. We're in again. Realistically, a lot of credit also has to go to our defense because they started playing better. But we're moving the chains. We're keeping the ball. I don't care that they scored. We're still up 11. And this truly has the potential to be the best game that Arch Manning has had all season. You can't miss that throw, though. That would have been his 6th touchdown of the game. We're going to hit the angle route. It's going to be short. So here we go. 4th and 1. It's not even that important for the result of this actual game, but we want the stats. We got them. And the only concerning thing I'd say about this matchup is the fact our defense gave up 34. This does complete our first challenge of the video, winning a conference championship. And I feel like Arch Manning could have won Player of the Week with that performance as well. Arch Manning's going to win SEC Offensive Player of the Week, but the real question is, does he win National Offensive Player of the Week? And it looks like he has. Now, when it comes to the other 4 challenges on the challenges list, I don't think anything else is about to be completed. The Heisman Trophy went to Byron Brown. We weren't even in the Heisman Trophy race in the first place. Then if you look at our season stats, we've actually made it to 49 passing touchdowns. 11 more is all that we need to end up getting 60. But there is a problem. We have to play the Aggies again in the Sugar Bowl. Of all the teams in the country we could have faced here, we could have gotten Memphis in the next round. We could have gotten BYU. Heck, I would have even taken Texas Tech. But no, we got Texas A&M. And it's a rematch. It's our chance at revenge, but it's also a really tough game. If this does not go well, Arch Manning's going to enter the portal before he even steps off the field. And guess whose defense gave up a 78-yard touchdown run to Le'Veon Moss to start this game? That just can't be the read. That can't be the read. What a tackle. Did it prevent them from scoring a touchdown? No, it didn't. So it doesn't matter that much. Maybe we can get a deep route going our way, though. We really need to get back into this game, and Ryan Wingo is going to help us do that. We've basically already given up more points, though, than we did the last time that we played Texas A&M, and we're not even at the end of the quarter. It has just not been a good start to this quarterfinal matchup. And here we go. 3rd and 2, hitch route. I had it dialed up to throw immediately. Arch Manning knew exactly where he wanted to go there. Sometimes you just have to have some of those reads dialed in before. And having success on this drive is incredibly important. If we don't score a touchdown, for all we know, they might march down the field and score even more points. Our slant's not going to be there, though. We might have to make a play with the legs or be super patient. And it's a flag. It's a flag. This is such a bailout. That's who we threw an interception to earlier on, but there's some PI. So guess what? We're right back in this game. I see the press coverage. He's got you. He's got you every single day of the week. DeAndre Moore Jr. has given me hope. Hope that I desperately needed. Look where we have the ball as well. We're at the 5. Our defense got it back to us in a really good position. We can tie things up at 21 all. We just can't mess this up down in the red zone. And as we're patient, we'll get in. Ever since that moment, though, things haven't really gone that well for us. We haven't had great scoring opportunities. So I'm hoping we can step things up on this drive. We are not going to want to throw that there, though. I don't know why I forced it. It's like we could have just scrambled for a first down there and kept it simple. Now they're up by 10 points by the time we're getting the ball back, and there's only 45 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. You know what, though? If we end up losing this game, I think what would be hilarious is if Arch Manning transferred to Texas A&M. I was kind of hoping that we could just get the Natty this season because I'm not sure where he's going to end up. I don't know if it's going to be possible to win a Natty at the next school, and we still got hope in this matchup as we're fighting to the 10. But either way, we still got a long way to go in this matchup, and it's back within 3. You can't make this up, though. Le'Veon Moss is going stupid. He has probably rushed for like 250 yards against us, to the point that if we didn't get a huge gain like this, the game would be over, but it's not gonna be over yet. Jack gets in, and we desperately need a stop on 3rd and 3. Marcel Reed throws it. It's gonna be intercepted. It's gonna be intercepted. We are so back. This is turning into a classic. This is turning into the best game that we've had all season. Touchdown gives us the lead. We currently have 405 passing yards with Arch Manning, and it's about to be 425. Now, here's the problem. There's 2 minutes left on the clock, so we're almost going to score too fast. But that was kind of perfect. We take the sack, we can run the clock down, and now we can get into the end zone after wasting like 40 seconds. We have a pretty big problem, though. Look where Marcel Reed's been able to get Texas A&M. They still have a timeout left. They still have 25 seconds. A touchdown wins this game. At least a field goal doesn't do anything. But we're just going to have to hold our breath. He throws it, and they're at the 4. This cannot be how our season ends. Arch Manning has no control over this. The only thing I can think of is what if we pulled all those zones deep, and then we were just able to go over the middle. This gives us a chance, but it's dropped. Khalil Lockett has been so consistent all year. How is that the ball that he's not hanging on to? We're hoping for the best here. Go up and catch it. Go up and catch it. I think we're going to be headed to overtime. All we have to do is drill like a 58-yarder. And it's no good. That's how we're going to lose the Sugar Bowl. The computer never misses kicks, but they do when we need to win. Arch gave his heart out here. He did have 2 interceptions, but he gave his heart out in this game. And his season is going to end 5 touchdowns short of being able to throw for 60. Without being able to win a Heisman Trophy or a national championship either, he has one challenge that he can still complete, and that's enter the transfer portal. If we take a look over at the portal, Arch Manning's ranked as the 3rd best transfer. He's not number 1. Arizona State's in 1st place technically, USC in 2nd, Georgia 3rd, Oregon in 4th, Miami in 5th, but I expect that to change and move around as the weeks go on. Now, I can't add him to a recruiting board, so this panel is the closest that we can get to seeing what's going to happen. And in week 3, the Bulldogs took a leap over Arizona State to claim 1st place. With only 1 week left in recruiting, it didn't take any longer for Arch Manning to make a decision. He is a Georgia Bulldog, and he was actually the last player that Kirby Smart brought in this class to finish it off. I feel like for completing these final 3 challenges before he declares for the NFL draft at the end of the year, this is a very good fit. And we get to do some upgrades with Arch Manning. He has 49 skill points to spend. I think the first move just has to be maxing out his throwing accuracy. That's going to get him all the way up to a 95 overall. Then I'm actually going to look a little bit more into abilities. We could get Dot up to gold, and then we could actually max it out. So we got Platinum Dot. This is going to increase his accuracy in the pocket for open receivers. And then there's going to be another accuracy boost whenever he climbs a clean pocket, so that's going to encourage me to not scramble. He'll still have his 87 speed, but with the way I've built him up, I'm hoping this next season I can just stay in the pocket with him. 97 throw power, again, really good accuracy, abilities that are built for this. And you're probably wondering, what does Arch Manning's receiving core look like? He's got an 89 London Humphreys with 96 speed, so that's going to be a nice target. I think Landon Rolden as a freshman as well with 95 speed will be pretty good. It's the tight ends where things get super nice, but it's not like we have someone that's just going to blow by coverage every single time. It's definitely going to be interesting to see if Arch Manning had the most success he's going to have at Texas, or if he can have a lot more at Georgia. Just looking at the early Heisman race projections, he is 3rd in the Heisman watch, right behind Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams. But the advantage we have being with the Bulldogs is we get to start as the #1 team in the country. We'll open up our season at Kansas. We're going to have to play Oklahoma pretty soon into this year, and you can see there are a lot of ranked games on our schedule. This is going to be brutal. But if Arch Manning can overcome all of that and have a lot of success, then the Heisman should be his. We're about to find out if Kansas is actually legit or if they're just being overrated. And if this new receiving core is better or worse for Arch Manning. He's already completed a 28-yard pass. Now he's going over the top of the defense to the 3. Lawson Lucky was at the end of that one, and we're going to feed him again to get into the end zone. He is looking like he's going to be a pretty consistent target that we're going to be able to lean on. I think we got them beat deep as well. They did not have the right match coverage there. So when you open up a game as great as we just did, it feels like we're just going to run away with it for even longer. They keep on running match coverage, and it is completely messing them up. I've never used the Georgia playbook in this game, but I will say for passing out of it, it seems really, really good. We might have just had our first incompletion, but there are all sorts of unique crossers and motions, which is going to allow us to move the ball well. And if I'm being honest, Kansas doesn't even feel like competition to us. We're not going to reach the end zone here, or maybe we will. Now you're probably thinking, you're just having the amount of success that you should whenever controlling a team like the Bulldogs. And maybe that's true, but it doesn't take away from the fact that this has been an extremely satisfying game so far. As we look for Lucky on the slant, he hangs on. He already has over 100 receiving yards in this game, and I was going to swing it back over in his direction on this play. Maybe we still can, though he's not going to catch it. If I remember anything from last season, it's the fact that as we play better in the game, we start to make more mistakes. I'm really just trying to avoid the interceptions that are probably going to come. I can sit here trying to pad our stats, but the second I turn it over, the stat line's ruined. We're going to be going up 35-0, by the way. And guess where our defense just got us the ball back off of a fumble recovery? It's going to continue to get worse for Kansas. It really doesn't get much worse than this for them. We're going to force it and hopefully hang on. And I can just tell off of their alignment that we're most likely going to dust them for another big play. There it is. There it is. I thought we could beat the cover 3 through the seam, and we did. That turnover just ruined the entire stat line of this game. I've been trying to make up for it, but they ran into each other. And here's the thing. We currently have 8 passing touchdowns with Arch Manning. I think we can still win National Offensive Player of the Week, but we'll see. Finishing off that drive and getting to 9 passing touchdowns would have given us an even better chance. I mean, he threw for 400 yards still. It's just that one pick that bugs me. It is super nice to see that in his first game with Georgia, he's already setting the single game passing touchdowns record at the school. But guess what? Sam Leavitt threw for 500 passing yards, 8 touchdowns versus Hawaii, so he won National Offensive Player of the Week. Interceptions really hold you back as well, because we couldn't even win it inside the conference for Arch. And as good as that performance was, he didn't even move up on the Heisman watch list. That's why I keep saying we can't throw like any picks this season if we want to achieve everything I'm hoping to achieve with Arch. And this is definitely the easiest game that we're going to have on our schedule, so we need to come out and score a bunch. Last time we saw cover 3 and we threw it up the seam, it led to a major turnover. So we'll just look for a crosser on this play instead, and that is what we're going to have. The rain's not causing a drop there. This is our Heisman Trophy moment for Arch. They pressed, and you can't press a receiver with 97 speed as Western. It's just a given that London Humphreys will dust you. We're going to see. We have Western completely spaced out, and it's just so easy to drop it in the bucket. We might as well just try and throw it up again after a holding call. We're not in a great position, but look at the distance between London Humphreys and that cornerback. He's like 10 yards on it. This might be a strong start, but what is our worst enemy? It is me. I'm probably going to throw an interception and ruin the type of game that we've had so far. Not on that drive, though. We got man-to-man coverage here, so I figured our crosser would get more open than that. Sokovie White-Helton has got to get more separation than that, and Arch Manning's getting chased down. He's escaped the pressure, no picks. I'm really just seeing ways that we can spread out their defense. If we get them isolated with no safety help, it's an easy read. And are we going to be able to throw streaks the rest of the season against SEC teams? Absolutely not. But because we're playing Western Kentucky, we might as well pad our stats. If we want to win National Offensive Player of the Week, though, London Humphreys can't get the ball the rest of the game, or else he'll just win it himself. So we're looking for other guys to finish off this drive, score the touchdown for us, and Nate Frazier is going to be him. This is genuinely just really enjoyable, honestly. I'm having a great time playing this well. At the end of this first half, we have almost 500 passing yards, and I'm sure it's only going to get better as we hook up with a tight end to the 5. Ethan Barber might be the backup, but I feel like he's just as good as our best tight end at Texas. And I'm pretty sure after this drive, Arch Manning is going to be pulled from the game, which is why we need to have some more big plays before he is. I mean, I don't know if the interception is coming or not. We had a really far drop back here. We're going to use Playmaker to our advantage, or we can just hit the wide open receiver. That was Landon Rolden, so it's not going to help out Jordan Humphrey's stats. We could even get some rushing yards. And when it comes to getting into the end zone, we still need to make sure that we do that. I think it's going to be 4th and inches. But the Hilltoppers are going to give us the first down. After seeing how easy that was, we just stayed in QB sneak. And I hope we've done enough for Arch Manning to win National Player of the Week. It really doesn't make too much sense for us to still be trying to score more versus the Hilltoppers. But that's what I've decided to do because we won another touchdown. Where I'm definitely feeling the pressure of throwing a late interception, so we're taking our checkdowns. Any extra stats we can get against Western Kentucky should only help our Heisman odds. But getting locked up like that is not good. On 4th and 7, we catch it. That gives tight end Lawson Lucky back-to-back games, over 100 receiving yards. Arch is going to continue and try and give his tight ends as many looks as he can. For getting into the end zone, though, We're just waiting on Nate Frazier to get open underneath, and he can run in stride for the passing touchdown. We ended up beating the Hilltoppers 70-3. I think the last touchdown went to Nate Frazier, though. These are the stats that Arch Manning put up. I'd say no turnovers is the most important part. We have SEC Offensive Player of the Week. Did we win the National Player of the Week, though? We did, which means we've completed our 4th challenge. As I just went to check that off of the challenges list, though, I realized that last night I forgot about it. I have already completed it, so it was pointless for me to be that aggressive. I'm actually devastated right now. I was so happy that we were able to finally complete this, and I just didn't remember that filming at like 1 or 2 a.m. last night, we had already gotten it. At least it puts us one step closer to winning the Heisman Trophy and throwing for 60 passing touchdowns. That is the other challenge that we still need to complete. I think I'm going to be mad at myself for a while, though. For like the last 30-45 minutes, I've just been so focused on completing that goal. Our schedule is going to continue to get harder, and I highly doubt that we're going to be able to keep scoring at the rate that we have been. Arch Manning might no longer be with Texas, but he still does not want to lose to Oklahoma. The hate is still there. First play of the game, London Humphreys is getting wide open, which is amazing. He's been such a great target to feed the ball to, though we're going to have to take a sack. I think we've gotten pretty used to being able to do whatever we want versus defenses, but Oklahoma's a little bit different. It's better for us to be smart about our play calling, and we're throwing the bubble so we can get the first down. Bouncing off of a tackle as well, and that's going to get us into the end zone. What a play! I feel like Skakovi White-Hilton has been our best receiver so far this year. If we can hit him on the run, that'd be great. Don't get me wrong, London Humphreys has been really solid too, but I'm just going to keep on putting it in Skakovi's direction. I do feel, though, that ever since the Kansas game, we've not been running the unique plays that we were. They just slowed down against Western Kentucky, but maybe that's why. On 3rd and 20, Nate Frazier is open. He's going to have to turn upfield, and he could not do that, but our defense got us the ball back relatively soon. We got a clean pocket, and London Humphreys had a step there, which puts us at the 25. Now, I'm hoping that they bite down to stop the run. I couldn't get that RPO throw off in time. I am so serious, though, about loving Georgia's playbook. I'll probably use this the rest of the year. It has a lot of plays I would already run myself, and then it has plays like this that I thought would work a little better. I think some of our guys just took longer to get open than I was expecting. That was almost an interception, though. We're going to get this one out underneath and get it in field goal range. We don't need to score a touchdown. We can end this first half up 13-7. That's good enough for me, though I'd still love 6. And I'm just waiting for London Humphreys to dust whoever is on him on that corner route. We'll scramble to the 10. If they hit us with man-to-man coverage, we got a lot of guys that should be getting open here. I saw his ankles get broken, and that's by a tight end doing that. What did I tell you all? Ethan Barber's a monster, and he's not even the best tight end that we have on this roster. This next play is one that could go for a huge gain, or it could also go really bad for us. We will see. I don't think the wheel route's there, and we're going to underthrow the crosser. Anything with play action mixed in always worries me. As long as we score a touchdown, though, or even finish off this drive with a field goal, we're going to be in a really good spot. Now, unfortunately, I knew it was going to be coming back. There was some holding, so it's going to be 3rd and 13. But I wonder if they're going to sit in cover 2, and if that's something we can beat, or if it's going to be cover 3, and we just had to hope that it got there quick enough. One thing that's not appreciated enough is Arch Manning's 97 throw power. That makes the ball get there so much quicker than with other quarterbacks. And I think that might be the best stat a quarterback can have on this game this year. More than speed, more than accuracy, how fast the ball gets there makes such a big difference. I will say, one thing the playbook doesn't have a good selection of is quarterback runs. We're very lucky a couple quarterback sneaks got us in, but I still need to throw for 60 passing touchdowns this year, which is why we're giving London Humphreys a chance to just run under it. As time has gone on, this one has gotten more ugly for the Sooners. We're about to take a sack, but even then, they couldn't bring down Arch Manning. They're just not having any luck today. Speaking of luck, if they're not going to guard him right, I will definitely feed him again. At least we're going to roll out, find Nate Frazier, and pick up like 5. We're really just looking for one more passing touchdown, and I feel like they've stuck with Roldan pretty well. Can they do it 2 times in a row, though? That's the question, and it's a missed throw. Arch Manning had his chance to get another passing touchdown, but he messed that up, so I think he's going to finish the game with 3 through the air and 1 on the ground. One thing I will say I wish was different about our schedule is we got to play Arch Manning's old team, Texas. There's always the chance we meet him in the conference championship. But as of right now, they've already picked up a loss. They're currently unranked, which I find pretty surprising. I feel like in real life, a 2-1 Texas would be ranked. I mean, they are now. They're ranked pretty highly. But I guess the loss of Arch Manning somehow affected the team that much. Now, Vanderbilt's overall is really low. I don't think they're going to play that bad. Time will just tell on that, though. Now, I have been looking for this play ever since we played our first game. It was the first play call in coach suggestions. We have found it again. And that was really not the read that I wanted to make there, but it's the one that we took. We're just going to sit in the pocket and complete it for 7. I've definitely forgotten that Arch Manning has abilities that boost his accuracy when he's in the pocket. I think that was another thing I said I wanted to focus on last night. It's just hard to sit back in the pocket whenever stuff like that happens. It collapsed, but we're going to complete the pass over to Lucky. Just a great job from our offensive line after breaking down to pick up. And you know what we're going with here, a jet touch pass, because this would be a great way to get a passing touchdown on the 1. It did not work though, making it 3rd and 2. Where we are literally just going to have to scramble in. Honestly, though, this is already looking like another game that's going to be over before we even get to the second half. I mean, that's just a great read. Arch is slinging it all over Vanderbilt, and it almost feels like this game's going to be over before the end of the first quarter. On 3rd and 1, we have the seam, and we get it right over the linebacker's head. And Vanderbilt keeps giving us the ball in some really good spots. There's a flag here, though, so it's coming back. Getting a holding call like that really stinks there. We can try and playmaker and still get in. But ultimately, we got stopped, so the next time that we're driving down the field, we'll make sure to take advantage of it. It's honestly comical to me how bad some of these teams really have been to face. I know this Georgia roster is better than like every other team in the country, but we are doing everything with ease. Granted, Arch Manning's also the best quarterback in the game, so having success like this should feel relatively easy. And I really am just trying to avoid throwing an interception once we get down the field. The longer the game went on, it would have been great to get more passing touchdowns, but it wasn't worth risking a turnover. I'd much rather just take our win and move on to next week, where we currently have 23 passing touchdowns to just 1 interception. That's through just 4 games. Our stat line at the end of the year, if we can keep this up, is just going to be nuts. Louisville is a top 6 program currently, and we're headed to Cardinal Stadium to play them, but I don't think their stadium pulse is that impactful. There might be a few plays where Arch gets a little rattled, but ultimately, he should be okay. And after he threw an incompletion for his first pass, I just want to make sure that he gets his rhythm going. I thought we'd get a little bit more than 2 yards there. 3rd and 8. The blitz definitely threw us off for a little bit. This is a hard catch. But the Cardinals got held to a field goal, and I get to run what is my favorite play in the Georgia playbook. There's just so many guys that have opportunities to get open. Clearly, nobody came to play, though, because that's just another mistake we're having to deal with. We had the deep post. It was wide open, and Arch Manning just didn't see it until it was too late. He's had a lot of time back there in the pocket. He should be taking a sack. This game has certainly not started off well, fallen behind 10-0. And going for big plays just isn't working. We have all these routes out there that could lead to big gains, but ultimately, they're not. I still think the offensive line here at Georgia is better than what we dealt with whenever Arch Manning was at Texas. You can't just stop your route like that. That easily could have been another interception for us. At least we're going to get past midfield. And if this is cover 3, this is a hard window to hit. But Arch Manning was going to go for it anyway. I think we just take a play off, dump it off to Nate Frazier. Maybe we can get out there and get a block for him, but he didn't need it. That was a really nice gain. And with their man-to-man coverage, there's going to be 3 guys that could have gotten to London Humphreys. It did not matter, though. We have the inside leverage. We just don't have the hands to catch it, and I'm afraid they're going to play the bubble, but I want that passing touchdown. The best way to get that is just blindly throw this RPO. Whether it's open or not, it's dropped. What is going on right now? Do these guys just not want to win? 4th and goal. I'll go for this. We get it out, but they got a hand on it. Thankfully, like a minute later, we're getting this ball back on the 18-yard line. So it's almost like that entire end of that drive didn't happen. We had our chance at redoing it. And I really don't care about passing touchdowns right now. We will go for 4 straight QB sneaks if we need to. A touchdown is more important than anything else. Just like that, we're back into the game against the Cardinals. And with 46 seconds left in the first half, I feel like they left us just enough time to do something. We don't need to force it too much, but I would like to get into field goal range. That should have been a big gain. Instead, it's going to be 3rd and 10, and they've dropped their zones back far enough to cover. We're going to need someone to run back to the ball. Arch Manning sets his feet, and that's completed to the 20. Now, one thing that's important to keep in mind is we have no timeouts left. So we basically just need to roll out and have an incompletion here, or we can scramble in and no one's on Arch. That slow start for Georgia is no longer seeming as bad. London Humphreys got the step on one corner, and the safety didn't expect the corner to get dusted like that. He was trying to play a little farther down in case we ran the ball, which I'm not sure why. We're not ever running the ball. We haven't all season, but Louisville responded. That makes it so it's almost like all of those points never happened. I could have taken a deep post. I'm glad we got that out. The ball just, it just sucked him. He literally just sucked it to his chest. That should not have been an interception. We'll watch it back in instant replay. I'm standing on it, though. All right, so I probably should have thrown it away a little bit sooner, and I'm glad that we still got it out. But just watch. It just deflects right in there somehow. What are the odds that he is able to come up with that? That actually didn't look as bad as I thought it did in real time. I'm just upset because we've been going a good bit without throwing picks. But I knew eventually they would have to start up again. And if we just stay calm in the pocket, we can get the first down. That was a really big play from Arch Manning. I'm proud that we didn't just take a sack. We're about to. And as we head into the fourth quarter, we're able to make it a 3rd and 11. But I'm not sure whether or not we're going to pick it up. We have our crosser, just not the time. The Cardinals would still get a field goal out of their next drive, though, which puts us down by 3 points in the final 3 minutes. I certainly underestimated them. Now, the turnover did not help us in the slightest. Eventually, Lucky will get open. And I bet he does here, too. We just don't know if we're going to have the time to get it out to him. Looking for the corner route. Maybe it's not there, but the deep post is. This is one of the best plays in this playbook. I'm even willing to just hand this ball off so we can start to run some clock. I don't want Louisville to have that much time to respond. This might be a little bit of a risky throw, but London Humphreys is open here. And I'm sorry, but I think this is 4 down territory. I don't want the field goal. There's a flag before the play. This is a free play for us, and we're in. They must have had someone step offside. That's what it had to be. It was. But that does not secure our win. There's still time for Louisville to score. They're at the 28-yard line with a timeout and 12 seconds left. If they get back-to-back big plays, we'd be in a lot of trouble. However, after gaining like a yard there, I'm feeling a little bit better. They're just going to send this one up, and it's deflected. That still leaves the Cardinals with another chance, though. And I've seen the computer pick these up. It's going to be high in the air. We got the numbers. Thank goodness. We are going to stay undefeated this season. Arch Manning had the worst game of the year. But even for his worst game, this is a pretty good stat line. His completion percentage could have been higher, and of course the interception hurts, but he is going to remain in first place on the Heisman watch list. The other quarterbacks that are up in contention right now, LSU's Colton Joseph is the only one that scares me. His stats are actually very similar to Arch Manning's. But I think something else that helps Arch out is he already has 5 rushing touchdowns on the ground. With a top 25 team coming to town and a night game, I'm feeling pretty confident. We just can't have another interception. In Arch Manning's sophomore season, once he started getting into a pattern of throwing a lot of picks, they never stopped. This is how you open up a game, though. I'm telling you, the play is money. If you see motion PA verticals in a playbook you're using, just run it a few times. Part of it could be the fact that we have the amazing Georgia receivers, but I think part of it's also just how those routes get guys open. We're in the end zone. And if Missouri was going to give us a good game, they have not opened this one up the way that they were hoping. Come on, outrun that corner. We're just setting our guys up for success. Still a lot of play action going on. We've got him. Come on. We drop it. Arch Manning did everything right there. He waited on the setup. No quarterback spy after that last touchdown run still. I find that a little bit odd. We're not going to have our tight end in the end zone, but if we step up, I guess we can just rush for another one. It would be nice if Roldan could just get us a passing touchdown by using the jet touch pass, but he won't. We'll look for him on the drag instead, and it seems like he's going to eventually get just naked. After what happened last week against Louisville, playing like this has me feeling a lot better, though London Humphreys just got locked up there. We're running around trying to make a crazy play. Missouri at least has one lockdown corner, though, because normally London Humphreys can get open on that route. Look at our crosser. That'll take us to the red zone. Arch Manning is just so dialed in right now. We might be able to hit our corner route. Did you just see how bad he got cooked? Lawson Lucky literally just sent him into another dimension. That was nuts. Now, I think this drive might stall out unless London Humphreys finally gets a good release versus that corner over there. It seemed like he had the step. So I guess we're looking to go up 28-0. Really put this game away. And that is exactly what we do. We really don't need to see anything else out of Arch Manning in this game, but he still wants more touchdowns. And as long as we don't throw an interception, trying to get more in the fourth quarter, I'll be okay with it. I will be okay with it. We might just run in for his biggest rushing touchdown of his career, at least in the video game. In real life, he's had a longer one. But man, what a performance out of him. We're even getting more passing yards through the air. It's really not necessary at this point. The game is over. But we're shredding Missouri's defense. I was probably just going to take this one to the end, but now that we've gotten back-to-back big games, we might as well just try and get that last final touchdown out of this day and it could come on the ground. Don't fumble. We're just going to sneak it in. I think he had 4 rushing touchdowns in this matchup, and that is definitely not going to help him complete the challenge of having 60 passing touchdowns in a season, but we had to take them. All I can currently update about the Heisman race is it is not changing at the top. It's been Arch then London Humphreys for a long time now. Every player is on an SEC team, though, that's in the Heisman watch. So that's the conference that we're stuck going up against. Texas is actually ranked. They're number 11 now. Tennessee 7, Florida 4, LSU 9. I think we're about to play the Tigers. And we've hit the midway point in this season with only 1 close game so far, but I feel like when we get through the second half of this year, there's going to be a lot more of them. All of that starts with LSU coming to town, and we had to make this a special game, of course, because this is a massive matchup. The Tigers wasted no time scoring on their first drive to go up 7-0, but you know who we're going to have. Lucky is just going to run with this one to like the 30, the 25, the 20. It's hard to believe he's a tight end sometimes. Georgia produces some monsters at tight end. No, Arch, this is not how you needed to start this game. Well, there's the 3rd interception of the season, and probably more to come. We had the step, though. We had the step. It is genuinely mind-blowing to me how good Lawson Lucky is. We can't hit him on this play, but we're going to probably throw a pick. I mean, that should have been one. We got very lucky. I guess setting our feet with Arch Manning could have been very important. This kid's gotten in free. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. Lawson Lucky is at the other end of it. That was a pretty wild and fast first quarter for us. Here to start the second, we're going to get some zone coverage, and we might just scramble with Arch Manning. I mean, he's been doing well there. This is a very hard offense for teams to stop. You see them struggling all the time, and I would really like to start getting some passing touchdowns again, which is why that's what we're going for here. But there was no guarantee that worked, that's for sure. We're about to get a huge play, or it's going to be picked. Against some of the teams on our schedule that just aren't as good, that makes me feel a lot better. That was another risky pass. I'm just throwing stuff, though, that isn't going to work against a top 10 team the same way it's worked against other programs this season. London Humphreys is going all the way to the 6. I mean, I was not expecting that type of gain out of him there. If we hit our drag, we're going to be in the end zone. And you know what? Arch Manning might have had that interception in this game, but outside of it, he's been going off. Did he just drop that in the right hands too? He put it on the money, but Taylor could not hang on to the ball. We see the seam is exposed, and I'm actually really sad that this has to be the last game of the day that I play because I'm doing really well. Currently, if I could play out the rest of this year, I think we'd easily go on to win a national championship and win the Heisman Trophy. Now, because I can't, we're just going to have to hope that we catch that at least. But yes, tomorrow I'm going to have to play well the same way I'm playing right now. I'm really upset that we didn't get a touchdown there. It feels like for one of the first times since I started doing YouTube a few years ago, I'm going to be able to find a balance in life. It's not just going to be filming videos all day. That's why I'm forcing myself to stop after this game. I get to hang out with friends, just watch college football all day. And I do think it's pretty healthy to have breaks like that. I don't think as humans you're meant to sit there and just work all the time 24/7. If I've learned anything since doing this, and I'll work 80 hours a week most of the time, what I've learned is just take some time off sometimes. It's worth it. That would be my advice. You don't always have to pick up the extra shift unless you really need the money. At the same time, you also don't need to be always working on that side hustle. Come on, get in, he's in! That was a crazy ending to the first half. This game's just over. We're trying to avoid more picks. So in the second half, we weren't aggressively trying to score touchdowns. This is the only one we're going to get. We played so well in the second that we were able to just coast through the third and fourth, get the right result. But when I come back tomorrow to play more games, we have a tough one coming up on the road at Kyle Field against number 3 Texas A&M. I'm already not liking what I'm seeing. It is raining hard, and I am ready to just start playing video games again instead of watching football. That's how bad yesterday was. For the rest of the games, I had an incredible time, but the Kentucky one was a hard watch. It was South Carolina, who's one of the worst teams left on our schedule. They gave us a good game. We looked good for about a drive, and then after that, it just went downhill. There's so many things about yesterday. I am not enjoying reliving on my timeline. Like after we scored a touchdown, you all know how I like to beam the ball at somebody in the crowd in this game, which we might be able to do right here. Well, that was done in real life. Straight at somebody in a wheelchair. Absolutely insane. I think it was Lenora Sellers' grandfather too. Then if you even watch some of the fumbles that Kentucky had in that game, they are hard to sit through. So this is why I'm so excited to be back on the game, because I can get back to just scoring touchdowns and having a good time with football. I will say before this next snap, you can see that they were just getting someone over on that side of the field. I probably shouldn't have waited as long as I did because I think he would have been gone. But Sokovie White-Hilton still held on to the football there. Man-to-man coverage. Are we going to get open? That's a well-placed football. Our running back's catching it and bringing it in too. He definitely got a foot down. And we've taken a 14-point lead nearing halftime versus Texas A&M. This has been a great start in this game. And then that's how they get a pick. That is how they get a pick. You just know whenever you get a rain game, moments like this are gonna come. And I am just as good at reading a defense as a Division I quarterback. Maybe not, but I will say this. Sitting there from my couch, I watched plenty of reads yesterday, made by some of the best quarterbacks in the country, into triple coverage for interceptions. They're just like me. It was more often than usual, and so now I'm just gonna sit here and tell you, I'm trying to keep my gameplay realistic whenever I make all of those bad turnovers. Time management also has not been the best. I just noticed there was only 11 seconds left in the half, but that's realistic to college as well. You're just getting the most realistic feel for the game. Now, even though we're on the 37, they're saying we're not in field goal range, so we're just gonna throw a quick out route that we drop. And that means we have no choice but to throw up a Hail Mary to end this half. This could definitely be an interception, but if we have all this time back here, maybe somebody can get open. Can we playmaker? Hang on. Someone actually playmaker where we want them to be. I don't know how our offensive line held up that well. It is very rare to see it. But what else do I want to talk about? Oh, yesterday, I got a hole-in-one. Mind you, I've only been golfing for like 6 or 7 times. It was on a par 3 though, and I think the hole on that one was literally only like 90 yards. I'm not even sure it was a real par 3, but it doesn't matter. It went in. I am awful at golf. There's a reason I've only been a few times. That's why it was such a crazy surprise. I know it'll never happen again in my life, but man, it made me want to start playing golf again, even though I missed the ball on probably half of my swings. But yeah, I told you all I was getting off the game yesterday, and I was going to have a good time. I did. Little par 3 action, some chicken. Oh shoot, I just pump faked. I'm sitting here like my mouth is salivating, if that's even a word, off of thinking about the chicken I had yesterday. Chicken right off the grill with some barbecue dry rub. It doesn't get much better than that. Only thing that sucks is I was with some of my childhood friends. I grew up in a small town. I live in Louisville now, but I grew up in a small town about an hour south. We'll even say hour 15. Anyway, driving back at night after that, sometimes it's hard to stay awake. There's something great about just falling asleep in your own bed, but I don't know how truck drivers do it. I really don't. Especially if you're going to be on the road for like 10 hours or something. I just feel like you would have to eventually fall asleep, get bored, make mistakes. There's a mistake inside the game. I'm sitting here reminiscing on yesterday and other things. All I've done is to come back today and start playing with 2 interceptions in this one. It's not been a great look, but Arch Manning on the ground is going to be short, and he fumbles too. I can only imagine that this is not going to help out our Heisman odds. But at the same time, he still had 5 touchdowns. I think in order to mess up this ranking, I'd need to throw another few interceptions. Taven Jackson transferred to Ball State. That is our closest competition at the moment. Meanwhile, I think we've literally been the #1 team in the country the entire season. But just one slip up could cause us to not make it to the SEC championship because Florida and Texas are both still undefeated. We might get that Texas rematch. You know the Bulldogs have to play the Gators soon though, so after we face off against South Carolina, that's when we're going to be taking on Florida. And like I always say, whenever we get to go to South Carolina to play on the road in these videos, their intro gets me so hyped. Now, Kentucky playing here yesterday, that was not very hyped. That was not fun. I literally just had to get off Twitter. I could not keep on reliving clips from yesterday on my timeline today. I keep on forgetting the player lock too, man. This should be a player lock touchdown with Arch Manning. We just watch him take it in, but I was in control. Until EA brings back the ability to play Road to Glories with real players, we're just going to have to use player lock inside Dynasty. They never had it on the newer titles, but back on NCAA Football 14, you know that we did a lot of series where I would just play as a real player. It was fun. Then there was stuff like the Heisman Challenge where you could try and play a season with the Heisman Trophy winner and beat out the stats that they had in real life. Now, how this game is going might be a little bit personal. I might be taking out my frustration from yesterday. Typically from this point, I'd stop getting as aggressive because our stats are good enough. We don't need to risk interceptions. But I wouldn't mind dropping like 70 points on South Carolina's head. We're going to have another touchdown. There's just no way that they get back to that. London Humphreys is literally having the game of his life, and so is Arch Manning. though we got to break a tackle to get in on 4th down. And this is just getting out of hand for the Gamecocks, though we're taking a sack. That was the extent of what happened in the 3rd quarter. In the 4th, we might as well just go for another passing touchdown, which we get. And I'm happy with the win that we just took over the Gamecocks. Our defense played well, Arch Manning played well, London Humphreys played well. Not a single person performed badly, and London Humphreys set the Georgia single game receiving touchdowns and yards record. That should get him back into the Heisman race as well. Florida is still undefeated. They're coming into this as the number 3 team in the country. And to be playing this in Jacksonville still, just like it should be. I feel like I saw something though that said that there's going to be a couple years where Georgia and Florida aren't playing here. That they're going to have to do a home and home or something, which I don't approve. Now, I can't remember if that's exactly what I was thinking about. I see a million things a day on my timeline. I feel like I have absolutely no memory anymore. It's kind of sad, but I've just accepted my brain is fried. I'll be sitting there like brushing my teeth, but I have to scroll to brush my teeth. What a horrible first drive, by the way. I can't be the only one though. Like for at least the last decade of my life, I always have to watch something while I eat. In fact, half of the people watching this video right now are eating. If I just had to take a guess. I also found out that 62% of you watch my videos on the TV. Now, I'm still addicted to just using my phone for watching YouTube. I have not made the TV transition yet, but it's clearly something a lot of you all prefer. In the midst of all that, though, we had a holding call. Wonderful. It's going to be 3rd and 14. Maybe London Humphreys beats them deep over there. I don't see it, though. I don't see a lot of things. I mean, I moved halfway outside the pocket. But back to what I wanted to make a point about. Now, if I want to have the best meal of my life, what I need to do is be sitting there watching a YouTube video or a show. I have to be watching something while I eat, and that makes it an even better meal, unless I'm with someone. Since I've gotten so used to watching something while I eat, all of a sudden, I think at some point, I decided I need to do it more often. I don't know if it was the creation of TikTok or what, which I refused to download until I realized that it would help me blow up on social media and do this as a job. But that caused me to get it, and ever since, addicted to short form content. I think the long-term effects could be detrimental, but I'm addicted. What can I do? It's kind of crazy to me. I avoided all the stuff my parents told me as a child to avoid that could be really bad for you, and then I've still managed to get addicted to a couple things anyway. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that social media is our generation's cigarettes or something. It isn't. I don't think. I hope it's not that bad for you long-term. There's not really any studies. But I do think there could at least be some damage from short-form content, just scrolling constantly. Did you see our running back, by the way, being smart enough to get out of bounds so we could kick a field goal? It's incredible how there's some stuff like that in the game that EA can code correctly, and then there's other things that they haven't been able to get right for like 10 years. As we snap it again, though, we're just going to have another open receiver. As long as I'm not throwing just straight ducks, I think we're going to be able to take care of the gators. And I do enjoy being able to be around bodies of water now without having to worry about gators being all around me. Forget family, forget friends, forget that it's not as hot. The best benefit of moving back to Kentucky is the fact that gators aren't all around. They never even did anything to me. I tried to approach one once because I just wanted to see it a little closer, and it just ran away into the water. But I was always terrified of getting in water when I lived in Florida. That was a great play, too. I mean, this game is going well. The playmakers are probably the most overpowered thing I could do. When we have this much time, it's possible. Now, if I was using basically any other school, we're not going to have plays where we just have 5-10 seconds back there in the pocket, because you never should. It's just because we're using Georgia, I can run around, playmaker, get touchdowns, run it in. Heisman difficulty can only do so much. It's easy. We have the best quarterback on what I think is the best roster in the country, just based off of the guys we've been using. Though I will say it would have been nice if Arch Manning transferred to either Ohio State or Alabama. If I could have been thrown to Jeremiah Smith or Ryan Williams this season, I can only imagine how many touchdowns we would have scored. And I know I did my rebuild series with Arkansas, but there is just nothing intimidating about this team or this program. I literally watched Notre Dame drop 50 points on their head in the first half yesterday. Here I am sitting here thinking I'm a ball knower, saying that Taylon Green's going to have a great performance, Arkansas could shock the Fighting Irish, and instead the game's over before they even get to halftime. That's the beauty of college football, though. Anytime you think you can predict what's going to happen, the complete opposite does. This weekend was just one of the best weekends you could have had for the sport. I mean, the Virginia field rush against Florida State on Friday, that was crazy. Just thousands of drunk students trampling players that are still sitting out there on the field. They're laying down, and then a second later, the whole field just storms. It was very dangerous, don't get me wrong, but it was the fastest field storm I've ever seen in my life, and honestly, that just made it even more electric. Now, from where we're sitting at in this game, they're going to run cover 3 out of double mug. That's basically the only thing the computer runs out of double mug. I have never seen them get aggressive and run mid blitz or anything. So you kind of know that you're just going to have time and you need to find a seam. They are reviewing whether or not this was a touchdown. It clearly wasn't. But speaking of reviews, does anybody know how to explain targeting? Because I feel like the definition of it changes every single game. I watched an Oregon player get his head dead on cracked, like he got hit directly in it. And then they went to review it. So I'm like, oh, this is the most obvious targeting call of all time. They come back and say it's not. I just don't understand the rule. It changes. Anytime you're like, oh, this is obviously targeting, it ends up not being targeting. We targeted our tight end there. That was a spectacular throw from Arch Manning. He's just going to take his check down here, get us a little bit closer. I feel like we are coasting through about every team that we face off against. But we did get stopped on that drive. We got held to a field goal, though I think all these motions are going to get somebody wide open. We have a check down. I don't want the check down. I want only big gains at this point in the season, which is what we have gotten with Nate Frazier. And let's see, they're going to bring a blitz. We have our zig route. I'm literally just trying to get one more passing touchdown, which we have. That was a great performance. We finished winning 41-14. And as we head into the final week of the regular season, we have not changed our spot in the Heisman race, but we have fallen from being number one. I really don't know why. It's not like 10-1 Louisville has a better resume than we do, unless they've just been beating a bunch of top 25 teams. No, we beat them. I forgot about this. How on earth did they get to move up above us when we're undefeated and their one loss is to Georgia? I feel like I'm going crazy. That just cannot be a thing. It's guaranteed we're going to be playing Texas in the SEC championship, by the way. But before then, we have to face Georgia Tech. And last season, this game between these two teams was remarkable. Now, I hope it doesn't get to that point here. I don't want to be going into multiple overtimes. I just can't deal with it. We've made it this far this season without losing a single game. And they just did the dumb thing that a lot of teams do that we've talked about, where they like to press and then they realize they can't press, but they realize it mid-play. So instead, London Humphreys just outruns everybody for a touchdown. Then they decide that they're going to give the ball back to us in a really good spot on the field because their offense simply can't handle our defensive pressure. And we just set ourselves up to go up 14-0 because they're not going to be able to guard our tight end. Then we get it back again in a really good spot. And I just sit here wondering, what is going to happen once we start playing tough teams again? Since I started recording, we have walked through Texas A&M, we have walked through Florida, both of those teams being ones that should have given us some really good games. And I don't care what you say, you're not going to convince me that he was not open deep. The only reason we didn't get to catch that ball is because there was some very obvious PI. Now, I got player locked onto a center for this next play, so we're sitting there trying to make some blocks. I actually didn't know that you could do this. It's not letting me player lock onto a center now, so that must have been a glitch. I got a rare glitch. I should put that in the title. Why doesn't EA let you player lock as a lineman? What if I wanted to sit here being a lineman? That goes back to the same thing with Road to Glory. Why can't we play with more positions? My best explanation is I'm just imagining that Madden has to also put that in, since you have to be able to port your player over to play in the NFL with him, and I just don't think that they can get both teams on the same page to do it the same year. That's my explanation. Now, is that the truth? Absolutely not. I've heard nothing at all. But I have to imagine someone there realizes that everyone's been asking to be able to use more than 5 positions for so long. See how after we go up 21-0, though, the quarterback play just kind of falls off. There's no urgency for Arch Manning to be successful. It's allowed Georgia Tech to get 7. I was sitting back there looking like a lost freshman quarterback in the pocket. You got to have some good pocket presence. You really do. I watched some bad pocket presence yesterday. I'm not going to say who, but I was sitting there like, hey, that looks like me playing the game. I am sure it is very intimidating whenever you got these big old guys trying to bring you down. To be back there in the pocket, not to Arch Manning, though. He's jumping over them. He is an athlete. It's hard for me to believe that this kid's even partially related to Peyton Manning. But he is, and we're going to continue to do what I've been doing all year. You just roll out, you do the playmaker, and the defense doesn't react. Now, if you're facing man-to-man coverage that's locking you up, you might as well just give up. I don't know how you're supposed to beat that. There it is. There it is. It's off target. Last play of the third quarter. We're going to go to our white receiver. I have been using him this whole season, but I don't know Landon Roldan's name until it pops up after the play or after he gets into the end zone, like right here. As time has gone on, though, it's just gotten worse and worse for Georgia Tech. They keep on letting us run it in. So we are going to remain undefeated, and we better be ranked above Louisville after this week. There's just no way the committee can put us below them. Unless, of course, people are just voting off of vibes, which I guess would be realistic too. Looks like they got it right this time around, only because the Cardinals lost to my Kentucky Wildcats. And what do I have to do to get an AP vote? Because I will do whatever it takes. That would be so much fun. My ballot would be good. It would be based off of what I actually watch instead of just how I'm feeling that day. Texas, we're about to have to play Arch's old team. And I'm feeling pretty good about the Heisman Trophy because most of the players that are also in the Heisman watch besides Isaac Brown are not going to be playing during conference championship week. We currently have 55 passing touchdowns with Arch Manning as well, so if he throws for 5 in this game, we're going to complete the challenge of 60 in a season. But that should be happening no matter what unless he somehow just falls apart. You can't make this up either. The Longhorns' new quarterback threw an interception on their 3rd play of the game. So Arch got it in a very optimal position. Are we going to get a touchdown, though? It seems like it's about to be 4th and goal, except Landon Roldan, I'm remembering his name now, he breaks the tackle. That is exactly what you would hope to see. Look at this. It's the method. It's the method. We need some downfield blocks if we want to turn this into a touchdown. Is it considered cheese? I guess it potentially would be, but the only reason that it works is because our offensive line is so good. That was not a very kind hospital ball out of Arch Manning, though. He just set our receiver up for failure, and they didn't stick. Warren Robertson with the great play. They might just hold us to a field goal on this drive, except that is how much I trust Landon Humphreys, who comes down with it. Texas would score, but we're just going to keep on cruising and doing whatever we can to move the ball. It feels like no one can stop us. So you know what I'm thinking about right now? I'm thinking about the standing desk I'm going to have in a couple of months with my new setup whenever that's all built out. Oh, come on. Catch this. Catch this. Great catch. Anyway, we'll be moving again, but I'm hoping this time I don't end up moving another few months later. And I've always been a hater for whatever reason on standing desks. I've thought there's no way to actually use it, but now I think I would. As someone that's been really active my whole life, I can't be feeling out of shape at 22, but I kind of do. So I think standing would be better. So you might see that in videos. Believe it or not, when God created us, I don't think he was intending on just sitting there for 12 hours a day doing rebuilds. I don't think he was designing my body that way. So that's why I think I got to make a change with that. Look at what could have been a big play. I was about to glaze this team even harder. I was about to glaze Arch, but no. Instead, missed throw. We're going to run around and do a bunch of dumb stuff like we always do, where it doesn't work. And that is how bored I am of how good this team is, because I know no matter what, we're probably winning. Now, that ball getting knocked out was not ideal, but we still were able to go up by 3 possessions. Now, we're going to do a deep playmaker down the field and come down with the ball getting knocked in. I'm going for 5 touchdowns in this game, which is why we're throwing here. But they just knocked that down. It's now 3rd and goal. What are you doing? Why did he run away from the football? I don't understand sometimes. This is such a blind read. And guess what? As time has gone on, they've been able to get it back within 7 points. So this one's not over. We're feeling the pressure here. Arch Manning escaping. Oh, we can't get this throw out. He can't. Not to a receiver I'd want to hit at least. Now, you might be wondering, why are we still throwing the football? That's a very good question. There's no reason for us to be doing that. But I have decided in this video, why would I ever use a running back? We're playing through Arch Manning's career, and he's going to be the one that can end this game. We will take our SEC championship with great pride. I keep saying Arch got his revenge, but he left his team for a better opportunity and more money, so that's not really revenge. He decided he no longer wanted to be a Longhorn. The Maxwell Award's coming in, but we're throwing that to the side. Who cares about that? What we want is this Heisman Trophy. We've achieved that challenge. But if we're going to throw for 60 touchdowns in a season, we still need to throw for a couple more. Georgia took home about every award that you possibly could. As you can see, only 5 interceptions on the year, and then rushing-wise, he had 15 on the ground. Our top receiving target was London Humphreys when it came to yards, but when it came to receptions, Lawson Lucky, the tight end, he came up big. And we'll be taking on Texas Tech in the quarterfinals. If we beat the Red Raiders, though, we might have to play Texas again. So my theory remains strong. The EA just makes storylines happen inside Dynasty. I don't know how they do it, but the playoff draws always work out that way. And I wonder if Texas Tech is good enough to just throw up 4 verticals against, or are we going to have to make actual reads? Because this first play, all we did was use one little playmaker. Before I take them seriously, they're going to have to prove to me that they're actually worth our respect. And honestly, they have not been able to do that so far. We're about to score another touchdown here. If we get it through the air, this will be Arch's 60th passing touchdown. So the only challenge we have left to complete is winning a national championship. I thought getting past Texas Tech might literally be the easiest thing we've done all year, but they scored 10 straight, which has put them back within 4. So we got to lock in again. We're going to see. Man-to-man coverage, not a great idea, but the linebacker lurking over the middle of the field with the man-to-man coverage is what's always going to throw me off. It's now 3rd and 10. We might get held to a field goal here. I thought that they were going to be in man-to-man coverage. It turned into zone. It was probably some sort of match, but Arch Manning just doesn't care. He does not care. The fact that that turned into a touchdown is mind-blowing. Then again, I watched Lenora Sellers be impossible to tackle yesterday versus Kentucky, so it does happen. With 14 seconds left in this first half, We're just going to have to be patient, and we're going to have him. It is simply just not getting any better for Texas Tech. They are not able to stop us, and their offense can't keep up, so we're going to keep on extending our lead. We ended up winning 41-13, moving on to the semis. And unless Arch Manning just really sells against his former team, we're going to complete every challenge. All we have to do to win a natty is beat Texas again and then beat either Nebraska or Florida. And even though the Longhorns kept it close in the SEC championship, I was never worried. I think the last time that we had to take someone seriously to beat them was against Louisville. And that was 24 hours ago. We're facing off against some of the best defenses in the country, and we don't even have to make a read because we're just dusting them. It's really incredible because it's not like we have any 99 speed receivers out there on the field. They're genuinely just good at beating the press. And how much more open could Lucky get? Every single time we get the football back in a spot like this, I just know that we should be able to make things worse. He snags that on his head and got a foot down for the touchdown. Now, they are 100% going to review this catch, but I think it was one. It just doesn't get much better than this. We've been working with some really good talent. I think if there's anything this game has shown, it's shown that Arch Manning was way better off at Georgia than he was at Texas. The difference between these two teams was monumental. We beat them 38-0. Then we're going to get Nebraska in the national championship. I guess their program is no longer cursed. They took down the Gators, but how hard could this really be? Arch Manning has run through so many teams so far, I can't imagine it's about to change. First drive of the game, they're sending 4, but they had no one on our crosser. And we're just going to wait. We're going to see if they're in cover 3. If they are, we're going to split that seam just like that. Nebraska's defense isn't showing much life on our first drive so far, though I just threw it straight at them. I'm not sure why Arch Manning thought he could fit it into that window. There is the Nebraska defense showing some life, which I just said they didn't have. But the Patrick Mahomes clone could not move them down the field, so it's still all tied at 0-0. Now, I think they're going to hit us with some man-to-man coverage here, which they were, but they also had a lot of guys drop back in zone. Why did they leave Lucky wide open? How did I just see that too? It's like they were begging us to score a touchdown. We're going to hand it off here as well. At this point in the video, our stats no longer matter. It does not matter if we get more passing touchdowns. All that matters is we come away with the natty. And the easiest way to do that is just hand it off to get in. I won't even use an RPO here. I'll just come out with the plan of letting Nate Frazier go to work, though he didn't look good. I feel like the AI behind the running back vision on this game is really bad. It makes it 3rd and goal. Maybe we should have just been throwing the rock the entire time. As we get closer to halftime, a minute left in this one, they still have not been able to get points on the board, and we're testing the linebacker who went up and grabbed that ball. That's going to make it 14-0 at the half. Nobody else could score. But as the game has gone on, we got in again. Nebraska's done nothing. I'm just giving them the ball back. I didn't even mean to throw it to them there, but it's just over. I was hoping that could at least spark a little bit of excitement, but it didn't. We're going to take home the national championship 28-7. I absolutely wrecked Arch Manning's passing stats in this game, but Nebraska did themselves no favors. They could have easily been in it. At least just like I was hoping, we completed every challenge with Arch Manning by throwing for 5,500 yards, 69 touchdowns. The 9 interceptions, 4 of them came against Nebraska. He had a really good year if you just ignore the last interception stat. He also had those 15 on the ground. And he would get drafted to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I only say that because I have a friend that's a Steelers fan. But that's going to do it for the Arch Manning career video. If you all enjoyed, make sure to let me know. And check out some of my other content since you made it this far.